Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 1. Which of the following is central to the definition of economics? A. Resources, B. Wants, C. Scarcity, D. Capital. So first, let's look at the definition of economics. So the widely accepted definition of economics was given by Lionel Robbins, and he defined economics as the science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So in this definition, let us underline scarce means. Now, scarce means refers to limited available resources, and to paraphrase this, scarcity. So scarcity is a central part of the definition of economics because there would be no economic problem if resources were not scarce. So if resources were not scarce, or if there was no limited availability of resources, there will be no economic problems, and hence there will be no economics. So the idea of scarcity is very, very important, and it is central. You can say it's central to the definition of economics. It is due to this reason that economics is sometimes defined as the study of scarcity. So as we have rightly established, option C, which is scarcity, is the answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 2. When the production possibility curve shifts outwards, the economy experiences A. Growth, B. Overproduction, C. Inefficient use of resources, D. Underproduction. Now, a production possibility curve, abbreviated as PPC, is a graph, refers to a graph or a curve showing the possible combinations of different commodities that can be produced in a given economy. Now, there's a condition, and this condition, given that the prevailing level of technology, if all available productive resources are efficiently utilized. So as we have stated here, it is just a curve that shows possible combinations of various commodities that can be produced, right? That can be produced based on the prevailing level of technology, based on the technology available, and if all productive resources are utilized efficiently. Now, in a production possibility curve, there are two ways it could shift. It could shift outward. It could also shift inward. Now, when it shifts outwards, when the PPC shifts outwards, it means that output is increasing, and when it shifts inwards, it means that output is decreasing. So from the question, we're asked what happens when it shifts outwards, and we have established the fact that the output is increasing. And when output is increasing, there's likely to be overproduction of resources. So overproduction, option B, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 3. Land as a factor of production is made useful through the A. Application of human effort, B. Acts of nature, C. Application of fertilizer, D. Use of machines. Now, land as a factor of production, land as a factor of production as it relates to economics is defined as a free gift of nature. Okay, this means that land is not manufactured, but rather it is a free gift of nature. Now, what does it mean for land to be useful or land to be made useful? When land is made useful, it means it is efficiently utilized for the purpose of production. So that is when land can be said to be useful. Now, in order for land to be efficiently utilized for the purpose of production, human effort or human activities, so I would say human activities or effort, needs to be present. So humans must carry out activities on the land or must put effort into utilizing the land for the purpose of production in order for land to be made useful. So human activities or effort needs to be involved. So for that, you can say human activity needs to be applied. So application of human effort activity needs to be applied to land for it to be made useful. So option A says application of human effort. So as we have established, this is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 5. So you have a diagram here which is labeled as Figure 1. Now, the diagram in Figure 1 above depicts A. Simple bar chart, B. Complex bar chart, C. Components bar chart, D. Multiple bar chart. Now, the first thing we know from this information and from the options given to us is that it is a kind of bar chart, and the bar chart is basically a statistical tool that represents data in rectangular bars. Now, the data given to you determines what kind of bar chart you use. Now, there are three kinds of bar charts. You have the simple bar charts, you have the component bar chart, and the multiple bar chart. Now, the simple bar chart is used when you have just one variable to represent. Let's say a variable like number or age or population, just one variable to represent in the chart. Then the component bar chart is used when you have two variables to represent. So you could have let's say things like number of males and females, or just two variables to represent. Then the third one, which is multiple bar chart, is when you have three or more variables to represent. So you draw multiple bars for the corresponding parts of whatever you want to represent. Now, from this diagram that we have here, we have just two variables represented, and this is a component bar chart. So the bars of a component bar chart look like this, okay, with two portions, one portion representing one variable and the other portion representing another variable. So as we have established, what we have here is a components bar chart, and components bar chart is option C, which is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 6. So you have a figure here which is labeled figure 2, and it shows change in demand for a commodity X, which is a normal good. Now the question we have to use it to answer is, which of the following caused the change in demand from D1 to D2 D2? A. Fall in the income of consumers. B. Rise in the price of a substitute. C. Rise in the price of a complement. D. Fall in the supply of commodity X. Now, this diagram represents or depicts what is known as a rightward shift in demand. A rightward shift in demand. And this is an increase. This depicts an increase in demand at a constant price. So the price remains constant, but the demand for that particular product or commodity increase. So we are asked what could be the cause of such change, such increase in demand. Now in this case, the increase in demand is brought about by a favorable change in factors affecting demand aside the price of the commodity. An example of some of these factors could include, let's say, this favorable change in factors could include increase in the income of consumers, or increase in price of a substitute. Now, increase in income of consumers will increase the demand for this commodity because the consumers now have the purchasing power irrespective of the price. Like I said, the diagram represents this change in demand at constant price. So the price has not changed, okay? So the price hasn't changed, but because the income of the consumer has increased, they can now purchase this product. So the demand for it will increase. And now another favorable factor we saw is the increase in price of a substitute. Now when the price of a substitute increases, a substitute commodity increases, the consumers will go for the cheaper product. Okay, they will go for the cheaper product irrespective of the fact that the price of that product hasn't changed. But because the price of the substitute has increased, they will go for a cheaper commodity or a cheaper product that can still perform that same function that they want. So this also causes the demand curve, a rightward shift in the demand. Now, as we have established here, increase in price of a substitute is one of the factors that can cause a change in demand from D1 to D2 D2 as shown in this diagram. So rise or increase in price of a substitute is option B, and option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 7. So you have a diagram here and you have some curves or some graphs. Now the curves D0 D0 and S0 S0 are the initial demand and supply curves respectively. What happens when government provides subsidy to producers? A. The supply curve will shift from S0 S0 to S2 S2. B, the supply curve will shift from S0 S0 to S1 S1. C, the demand curve will shift from D0 D0 to D1 D1. D, the supply curve will shift from S1 S1 to S0 S0. So you have, let's locate the curves. So this is D0 D0 here, this is it here, so this is D0 D0, okay, and then you have S0 S0, so this is it here, this line here. Now we are asked, these two lines we have located, these curves we have located, we are told that these are the initial demand and supply curves. These are the initial demand and supply curves respectively. Now we're asked what happens when government provides subsidy to the producers. Now, as it relates to this, the supply curve, if government provides subsidy, the supply curve will shift from S0 S0 to S2 S2. Now this shift or this change indicates, okay, I would say due to an increase in supply. This occurs as a result of increase in supply, meaning that the supply curve, okay, the supply curve, which is S0 S0, will shift to the right, and this indicates that this is an indication that at old price more of the commodity is supplied. Now this shift to the right is usually due to favorable change in factors affecting supply, e.g. provision of subsidy by the government. So what happens is that once the government provides subsidy, the cost of production of this commodity will reduce, and hence the producers will be able to provide more or be able to produce more of these products, okay, due to this subsidy. And if they're able to produce more of the product, it means that the supply of the product in the market will increase, and that is why the curve will shift to the right, or shift from S0 S0, as that is this one, to S2 S2. So as we have rightly established, the supply curve will shift from S0 S0 to S2 S2, which is option A and is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 8. So you have this figure represented here, and it is labeled as figure 4. Now in figure 4 above, YZ represents A, excess demand, B, excess supply, C, equilibrium quantity, D, equilibrium price. So in this figure, this graph, you have a demand curve and a supply curve plotted together on the same price quantity axis. So this is the supply curve and this is the demand curve. So they are plotted on the same price quantity axis, and we are asked what this portion, this YZ, okay, so YZ is this portion, what does it represent? Now the YZ portion represents excess supply. This portion on the graph represents excess supply, and the point where these two curves intersect is known as the equilibrium price. And this portion below the equilibrium price, is referred to as excess demand or shortage. So we have established that YZ, this portion here, line YZ, represents excess supply, and excess supply is option B, which is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 9. Goods are described as inferior if their demand A. decreases as price falls, B. increases as income rises, C. decreases as income increases, D. increases as price increases. Now we are asked, this is more or less asking us for the definition of an inferior good, and an inferior good is an economic term that describes a good whose demand drops or reduces or decreases, when people's income increases. Now, if the demand of a good decreases when people's income is increasing, then that good is said to be inferior. Now, this is because it's an indication that there is more superior, or there is superior competition. There is superior competition which the consumers are choosing. So it means that the consumers are choosing superior products due to the fact that their income is increasing. So as their income is increasing, they are going for substitutes that they feel are better because they can now afford them. So based on this description, you can say the good is inferior when its demand drops as the income of the consumers increase. So as we have rightly established, a good is described as inferior if their demand decreases as income increases. That is option C, which is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 10. A consumer is in equilibrium when A. his market supply is equal to his market's demand, B. he maximizes his satisfaction from spending his income, C. the market is also in equilibrium, D. he has consumed all he wants. Now, this concept is known as consumer equilibrium. And consumer equilibrium is a situation where a consumer spends his given income on the purchase of one or more commodities in such a way that he gets maximum satisfaction and has no urge to change his level of consumption. So the main point here is that the consumer equilibrium is a situation where the consumer spends his income on purchase of commodities such that he gets maximum satisfaction. And that is what is reflected here in option B. It says he maximizes his satisfaction, so gaining maximum satisfaction from spending his income. So option B, he maximizes his satisfaction from spending his income, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 11. Goods that are abundant in supply usually have low A. Total utility, B. Marginal utility, C. Average utility, D. Time utility. Now let's look at the definition of each of the concepts. Now option A, which is total utility, refers to the total amount of satisfaction a consumer derives from the consumption of a commodity at a particular time. Option B, which is marginal utility, refers to the additional satisfaction derived by consuming an extra unit of a commodity. Option C, which is average utility, refers to the satisfaction which a consumer derives per unit of a commodity consumed. And option D, time utility, is not a concept. Now, from all this, we are asked that goods that are abundant in supply usually have low, what utility do they have? What low type of utility do they have? Now, there's a concept known as the law of diminishing marginal utility, and this law states that the satisfaction derived from consuming successive units of a commodity will diminish as total consumption increases. So from what we see here, as the consumption increases, as consumption of successive units increases, the satisfaction will reduce. So goods that are in abundant supply, goods that are abundant in supply, goods that are abundant in supply are goods that are plenty, so such that you can consume successive units of that particular good or that particular commodity, and based on this law, the marginal utility will reduce. So option B, low marginal utility, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 12. An increase in supply means that A, more is sold at different price, B, more is sold at the same price, C, there is a leftward shift of the supply curve, D, there is a movement along the supply curve. Now, supply, the concept of supply refers to the quantity of commodity which a producer is willing and able to offer for sale at a particular price and at a particular period of time. Now, when there is increase in supply, the supply curve shifts to the right, indicating that at the old or at the same price, more of the goods is sold. So more is sold at the same or old price. That is what happens when there is an increase in supply, and it's also indicated by a shift to the right on the supply curve. So more is sold at the same price is option B. So option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 13. If an increase in the price of crude oil led to an increase in the prices of kerosene and grease, then kerosene and grease are in A. Joint supply, B. Competitive supply, C. Market supply, D. Composite supply. So we have various types of supply given to us in the options. So let's define each of them and see which one fits this scenario we have in the question. Now option A, which is joint supply, occurs when two or more commodities are produced and supplied from one source or raw material. So for example, you have petrol and kerosene from crude oil. So this is where you see joint supply. Now option B is competitive supply, and it refers to when many commodities are supplied for the satisfaction of a particular want. For example, meat and fish. So meat and fish are both supplied for the satisfaction of a particular want. Now option C, market supply, is not a type of supply. It is not a type of supply. And then option D, which is composite supply, refers to when a commodity can serve two or more purposes. Refers to the supply seen in a commodity that can serve two or more purposes. Now, from what we have seen here and in the question, we are seeing that the price of crude oil, increase in price of crude oil, led to increase in prices of kerosene and grease. Now kerosene and grease are both obtained from crude oil. That means kerosene and grease are gotten from the same source or from the same raw material, and that is what we saw when we looked at joint supply. So joint supply are in option joint supply is option A. So kerosene and grease are in joint supply. So option A, joint supply, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 14. A seller increased the quantity he offered for sale from 200 units to 250 units when the price of his product increased by 12.5%. What is the price elasticity of supply of his product? Now, elasticity of supply is given as percentage change in supply divided by percentage change in price. So from the question, we have percentage change in price here because it says the price of his product increased by 12.5%. So this is percentage change in price is 12.5%. So in order to be able to get our elasticity of supply, we need our percentage change in supply. Now percentage change in supply will be given as, we have the units sold from 200 units to 250 units. So to get the percentage change in supply, we say 250, which is the new units, the new supply, minus the old supply, divided by the old, multiplied by 100 over 1, and all these will give 25%. So elasticity of supply is equal to percentage change in supply, which is 25%, divided by percentage change in price, which is 12.5%, and that will give 2.00 as our answer. 2.00 is option A. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 15. If an increase in the supply of beef increases the supply of hides, then beef and hides are in A. Competitive supply, B. Joint supply, C. Composite supply, D. Joint demand. So we're asked what happens when you have two products, hides and beef. And here we said the increase in supply of beef increased the supply of hides. Now, both of these products are gotten from the same source, that is cattle. And when you have two products obtained from the same source, it is linked to the type of supply known as joint supply. Now, in joint supply, it's a type of supply seen in products from the same source or raw material. Now, another example is seen in petrol and kerosene, gotten from the same source, that is crude oil. So both beef and hides are gotten from cattle, the same source. Therefore, increase in supply of one will automatically lead to this increase in production and supply of the other. So, as we have rightly established here, option B, joint supply, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 16. If a beef market is in equilibrium at $4 per kg, an increase in price to $6 per kg may cause A. Surplus in the market, B. Shortage in the market, C. Black markets to come into operation, D. Rationing to be introduced. Now, the information given to us from the question is that the beef market is in equilibrium at this particular price. Okay, so the market price is at equilibrium at $4 per kg. $4 per kg. Now, as it relates to market price and equilibrium, whenever market price increases above equilibrium or above equilibrium price, whenever market price increases above equilibrium price, the supply is greater than the quantity demanded. And if supply is greater than quantity demanded, a surplus is created. So surplus in the market is option A. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 17. A large firm may experience diseconomies of scale if there is A. Difficulty in coordinating decisions, B. Division of labor in production, C. Employment of more specialists, D. Decrease in cost of production. Now, the concept of diseconomies of scale, diseconomies of scale happens when a company or business grows so large that the cost per unit increases. So it's just like saying their overall cost of production increases. Now, amongst the options given to us, the factor that is likely to increase cost of production here is employment of more specialists. Employment of more specialists. Now, when more specialists are employed, it means the cost of production increases due to the fact that their salaries and wages have to be paid. So employment of more specialists increases cost of production via the salaries of the employees. So it happens when there is C, employment of more specialists. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 18. Increasing returns to scale suggests that A firm can make profits by reducing output, B, a firm can make more profits by increasing output, C, as the producer reduces the quantity of raw materials used, the marginal product will double, D, as the producer increases the quantity of raw materials used, the marginal product will fall. So the concept we're looking at here is increasing returns to scale, and increasing returns to scale occurs when the output of a particular firm or business increases by a larger proportion than increase in inputs during the production process. Now, this means that the output increases at a much higher rate than all the factors of production involved, all the inputs involved. So the output increases by a larger proportion than increase in inputs during the process of production. Now, we are asked what increasing returns to scale suggests. Now, increasing returns to scale suggests that a firm or this business can make more profit by increasing output. So, based on the fact that the output increases by a larger proportion than the inputs during production, it means that the firm can make more profits than estimated, or more profits than usual, by simply increasing the output. And the output, of course, can be increased by increasing the inputs or the factors of production. So it suggests that a firm can make more profits by increasing outputs, and that is option B. So it is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 19. One feature of the average fixed cost is that it A falls continuously but is never equal to 0, B is U-shaped and intersects the y-axis. C rises and falls faster than the marginal cost. D is always higher than the average variable cost. So the concept we are looking at here is average fixed cost. An average fixed cost is defined as the fixed cost the fixed cost of producing a unit of output. A fixed cost of producing a unit of output. Now on the graph, if it's plotted, graph of cost against output, the curve looks like this: average fixed cost. So from the curve you can observe that it falls continuously but never reaches the origin, never gets to 0. So falls continuously but is never equal to 0 is option A. Option A is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 21. Table 1 below shows the total revenue schedule of a firm. So you have the revenue schedule here with one column indicating output and the other total revenue. Now, what is the unit price of the firm's output? A, $10, B, $2.7, C, $2, D, $1.70. Now, to get unit price is what we are trying to calculate. And to get unit price, what you do is to divide any of the price given to you under total revenue by its corresponding unit. So for example, if we are to take these two, in order to get the unit price, we will divide the total revenue of it, that is 85, divided by 50, and if you do that, what it will give you is $1.70. Now it will also give you the same value if you do for all of them, so it is a constant value, $1.70. $1.70 is option D and is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. And welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 22. So you have this table 1, which shows the total revenue schedule of a firm with two parts, output and total revenue. Now the question is, what is the firm's marginal revenue? A, $153, B, $17, C, $1.70, D, $0.80. Now marginal revenue is what you are calculating, and marginal revenue is equal to the change in total revenue divided by change in total output quantity. So in order to get change in total revenue and change in total output quantity, you can make use of any two successive values from the table. For example, I can choose to make use of 50 and 60. I can choose to make use of this other category, any two successive values. So let me make use of 50, 60, 85, 102. So now change in total revenue, that is this change total revenue, that will be equal to 102 minus 85 over change in total output quantity, that will be equal to 60 minus 50. So if you do that, that will give you $1.70. $1.70 is option C. So it is the correct answer to that question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I'm going to be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 23. Organization and entrepreneurship are vested in different persons in a cooperative society, B, sole proprietorship. C, partnership. D, public company. So you have various types of companies here, and we are asked for the company in which organization and entrepreneurship are vested in different persons. Now option A says cooperative society. Now a cooperative society is made up of a group of people who come together, okay, with common interest of advancing the members' welfare. So that is the common interest of that group of a cooperative society. Now a sole proprietorship is a company that is run and operated by one person. So a one person or one man business is what is called a sole proprietorship. Then partnership is made up of 2 to 20 people, a collaboration of 2 to 20 people to start up a firm. And then public company refers to a company that is owned and financed by the government. Now, as it regards to organization and entrepreneurship, organization refers to the structure, the ownership, the management, the ownership of the firm, and then entrepreneurship refers to the day-to-day running of the business, the management of the business. Now, in a cooperative society, yes, you have members who own part or who are part of the organization of the firm or of the society. Now, these same members amongst themselves select those that will manage it. So you can't say the membership and entrepreneurship are vested in different persons, because it is the same set of people, just a select few number of the members that are also part of the management. So it is not vested in different persons. Now, sole proprietorship is obviously owned and operated by one person, so everything is run by one person. Now, the same thing goes for partnership. This same group of people are responsible for the organization and entrepreneurship. However, in a public company, it is owned by the government, but in terms of the entrepreneurship or the management, a group of persons are appointed. For the management. So it is not the same as the government who owns or who is responsible for the organization of the business. So option D, public company, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 24. The public sector in a mixed economy is not always efficient because of A. Bureaucratic practices, B. The desire to make huge profits, C. Annual planning of activities, D. The activities of shareholders. Now, one of the disadvantages of a mixed economy is that it is not always efficient. Now, what is a mixed economy in the first place? Now, a mixed economy is a type of economic system in which both the private and public ownership of means of production and distribution exist together in a country. Okay, this is the type of economy practiced in Nigeria. This is an example. So in a mixed economy, like I said, one of the disadvantages of it is that it is not always efficient. So why is it not always efficient? Now, the efficiency is not usually present, or it hardly occurs, due to the involvement of the state or bureaucratic practices Now, bureaucratic practices or bureaucracy just refers to government by administrators or officers. So there are some behaviors of the state or involvement of the state or of the public or of the government, okay, the public, involvement of the public, which are more or less bureaucratic in nature. So because of this reason, because of the involvement of the state, the involvement of the public with this method of bureaucracy, the mixed economy system is not always efficient. So option A, bureaucratic practices, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 25. Which function of the wholesaler enables him to stabilize prices? A. Warehousing goods. B. Advertising the goods. C. Granting credit to retailers. D. Transporting goods. Now, the wholesaler is one or is part of the channel of distribution, and the wholesaler is basically described as a merchant who purchases goods in large quantities, that is from the producers, large quantities from the producer or manufacturer, and sells in small quantities to retailers. Now, one of the major functions or importance of the wholesaler is stabilization of prices, and he does this, he helps to stabilize prices or helps to prevent price fluctuation by stocking the goods until they are demanded. That is, he stocks the goods in a warehouse until they are demanded. So by this, he helps to stabilize prices or prevent price fluctuation. So stocking of goods until they are demanded is categorized as or is described as warehousing. So warehousing is that commercial activity that entails stocking of goods until they are demanded for before they are used. So this helps to stabilize prices, and as a function of the wholesaler, that is A, warehousing goods. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 26. In the long run, as individuals receive higher wages, it causes A, demand for food to decrease, B, demand for leisure to decrease, C, supply of normal goods to decrease, C, supply of labor to decrease. So we are asked in the long run for the effect of higher wages in the long run. Now, when there is increase of wages or when there are higher wages, so I would say with higher wages, what happens is that workers will give greater value to work than leisure. Now, this is because, of course, there is more benefit to working than leisure. So as time progresses, people will begin to prioritize work over leisure. So this substitution of leisure for work, the substitution effect causes more hours to be worked as wages rise. So because of this effect, the demand for leisure will decrease. So option B, demand for leisure to decrease, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Welcome, I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 27. Population growth rate can be calculated as A. Birth rate minus death rate minus emigrants minus immigrants. B. Birth rate minus death rate plus migration rate minus immigration rate. C. Birth rate minus death rate. D. Birth rate minus death rate plus immigrant minus emigrant. Now, population growth rate is dependent on 4 factors: birth rate, death rate, immigration, and emigration. So birth rate, of course, has to do with the rate of at which individuals are born. Death rate with the rate at which individuals die. Immigration with movement of people into the country, and emigration, movement out of the country. So as it is dependent on these factors, an increase in population or a growth in population will have to do more with birth rates. So in order to get that, using these 4 factors, you will subtract death rates from birth rates and also emigration from immigration, and then add the values together. So it will now be birth rates minus death rates, then plus immigrants, that is people entering the country, minus emigrants, people leaving the country. So that is affected as option D, birth rates minus death rates plus immigrants minus emigrants. That is the way to calculate population growth rates. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 28. Labor productivity is defined as A. Output per man hour, B. Average output, C. The maximum number of hours worked, D. The total output of labor. Now, the concept of labor productivity in a broader sense is defined as, or it measures the hourly output of an economy. Now, it does this, or in other words, it represents the total volume of output in gross domestic product produced per unit of labor. So the hourly output per person, okay, it's a function of the number of people, the number of employed persons, and their hourly output. Now, amongst the options, what best describes those functions? That is number of employed persons, okay. The output based on number of employed persons per hour is best described by option A, output per man hour. That is employed person man per hour, the output, okay. So option A, output per man hour, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Welcome, I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 29. Which of the following problems has the least effect on agricultural productivity in West Africa? A. Incidence of pests and diseases. B. Unfavorable weather conditions. C. Urban-rural migration. D. Illiteracy. So we are asked to pick out the one that has the least effect, or the one that is least important, or least of a problem in terms of negatively affecting agricultural productivity in the region of West Africa. Now let's analyze each of the options. Now, incidence of pests and diseases has major effects on agricultural productivity. It has major effects as problem of controlling pests and diseases of plants and also of farm animals is a major issue, that affects agricultural productivity in West Africa. So it has a major effect, and we're asked for the one that has the least effect. Hence, this is not the answer to the question. Now, option B says unfavorable weather condition. It also has a major effect because unfavorable weather conditions as well as unpredictable climates, especially in rural areas in West Africa, is a problem that majorly affects agricultural productivity in West Africa. So it is not the answer to the question. Now, option C says urban-rural migration. Urban-rural migration refers to the movement of people from urban regions to rural regions. Now, if we think of this does not really affect agricultural productivity majorly, because when people move from urban regions to rural regions, you even have more hands for agricultural productivity or for agricultural procedures, as most agricultural procedures in West Africa is carried out in the rural regions. The major effect or the major problem is when you have rural urban migration. So due to rural urban migration can be seen as a major problem, but urban rural migration is not seen as having a major effect, so it is having a minor effect. Now, before we select our answer, let's look at option D. Option D says illiteracy, and obviously illiteracy is a major effect, or it majorly affects agricultural productivity in Africa. Lack of technical know-how, use of mechanized farming, use of methods of pest and disease control is a major effect. So it is not the answer to the question. Now, option C, urban-rural migration, as we established, is the correct answer to this question, as not having a major effect on agricultural productivity in West Africa. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 30. The location of iron and steel industry at a place is due to A. Easy access to raw materials, B. Access to cheap labor, C. Government policy, D. Good infrastructure. So we are asked for the major factor that influences the location of an iron and steel industry at a place. The major factor influencing the location of an industry, be it iron and steel, any industry, at a place. Now, from the options given to us, the most important or the major factor that affects or influences location of industry in a place is easy access to raw materials. Now let's analyze it. Let's look at this. Easy access to raw materials saves cost of transportation of raw materials. Now, if you have your industry where you have easy access to raw materials, it will significantly save you the cost of transporting raw materials to the industry. It will save you also labor. It will also save you labor, okay, in terms of also transporting and obtaining the raw material. So easy access to raw materials is very important, as accessibility or availability of raw materials is what makes the industry function. So in an iron and steel industry where you need the raw material, iron ore, having iron ore or having access to iron ore is what will make the industry to function. The day you have or you cease to have the raw material is the day the industry ceases to function. So easy access to raw materials, option A, is the most important factor to consider when locating an iron and steel industry and even any other industry. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. This is WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 31. Import substitution as a strategy of industrialization is the A. Replacement of locally produced goods with imported ones. B. Development of local firms to produce local goods that are imported. C. Establishment of firms to process imported raw materials. D. Act of using local inputs to produce goods for export. Now, import substitution is a strategy that involves deliberate attempts by the government aimed at encouraging the growth of industries within the country which produce goods and services which would otherwise have been imported. So the strategy involves encouraging the growth of industries which produces goods that would otherwise have been imported as a substitute for importation generally. Now, amongst the options we have examined, option B says development of local firms to produce local goods that are imported. So you can see that this reflects the definition of import substitution strategy, as local firms or local industries are groomed or growed to the point where they can produce local goods that would have been imported. So option B, development of local firms to produce local goods that are imported, is the correct answer to the question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 32. Which of the following are intermediate products? A. Cement and steel. B. Furniture and shirt. C. Handkerchief and shoe. D. Table and door. So the concept here is intermediate products, and intermediate products are products that might require further processing before they are sellable to the ultimate consumer. So intermediate products are basically just products that may require one or more forms of processing, further processing, before they will be useful or sold to the ultimate consumer. So let's look at each of the options and see which one falls under this description. Now, cement and steel can actually be classified as intermediate products because they might require further processing before they are eventually sold to the ultimate consumer. Now, cement, not every consumer requires cement the way it is, so it might actually have to be processed into, let's say, blocks, or for even higher purposes might be used in the construction of houses before those houses are sold or rented out to consumers. Likewise, steel might, a normal bar of steel may not be useful to every other consumer, but once it is processed into let's say forms that may be useful to man, let's say used in the construction of cars. So that car now is saleable to an ultimate consumer. So option A, cement and steel, is the correct answer to this question, as cement and steel are intermediate products. The other options, look at B, furniture and sheds, do not require further processing before they are sold. You buy a shirt the way it is and you use it that way. Likewise, furniture, you buy chairs, tables the way they are and use them the way they are. Handkerchief and shoes as well, and also tables and doors. So as we have rightly explained, cement and steel are intermediate products. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 33. How is NNP at factor cost derived from GNP at market prices? A. GNP minus depreciation plus indirect taxes plus subsidies. B. GNP minus depreciation minus indirect taxes plus subsidies. C. GNP plus depreciation plus indirect taxes minus subsidies. D. GNP plus depreciation minus indirect taxes plus subsidies. Now, NNP is net national product and GNP is gross national product. So we are being asked, how is the net national product derived from the gross national product at market prices? Now, the net national product is defined as the money value of the total volume of production, that is the gross product, in this case the gross national product, after allowance has been made for depreciation. And generally the mathematical expression for that is NNP is equal to GNP minus depreciation. Now, but for this question we are asked at market prices. So when you want to get the net national product from the gross national product at market price, you put into consideration other factors that will influence the general market price. Okay, you put into other factors such as subsidies and indirect tax, as we see reflected here in all the options. Now, for the final formula at market price, NNP will be equal to GNP, the gross national product, minus depreciation, of course, and then as we said, the total volume of production is what you are taking into consideration. Total volume of production. So subsidies and indirect taxes are also under what affects the total money value in terms of production. So you add those values to the depreciation and then subtract it from the gross national product in order to get the net national product. So that is GNP minus depreciation plus indirect taxes plus subsidies. So everything here will give you the net national product. So this expression we have given is option A. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 34. Which of the following factors may lead to underestimation of national income figures? A. Availability of skilled statisticians. B. High volume of exports. C. Emigration of skilled workers to foreign countries. D. Subsistence production. So if you are to rephrase this question, there are also another way to put this question is, what are the problems of computing national income. So this is the question they are asking you. So which of these factors can be described as a problem in terms of computing national income? Now, availability of skilled statistician is more of a benefit in terms of computing national income. So it is not the answer to the question. Option B says high volume of exports. It isn't directly linked to the underestimation of national income figures. It isn't exactly linked to as a problem in terms of computing the national income. The volume of exports, as long as it can be traced, can actually, be computed, and you can't really say it will lead to underestimation of the national income. So it is not the answer to the question. So we have ruled these two out. Now, option C says emigration of skilled workers to foreign countries. Now, again, this isn't directly linked to underestimation of national income. So it is not the answer to the question. Now, option D says subsistence production. Now, the predominance of subsistence production in an economy, subsistence production such as tailoring, farming, etc., makes estimation difficult, and it is often underestimated. Now, these subsistence jobs, these subsistence occupations, or subsistence production in general, are very difficult to estimate in terms of the value or in terms of the income they generate. So because of that reason, the national income figure based on this, what we have just explained, is often underestimated as a result of predominance of subsistence production in an economy. So option D, subsistence production, is the correct answer to the question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 35. Inflation may occur if A. Rate of productivity is higher than wage rate. B. Prices fluctuate during a particular season of the year. C. Wage increase is granted without increase in productivity. D. The government embarks on restrictive money policies. So what we are asking is, which among the options can be responsible for inflation? So inflation basically refers to the persistent rise in the general price level of goods and services. So that is inflation. Now let's look at what may lead to inflation among what is given to us. Now option A says rate of productivity is higher than wage rates. Now rate of productivity being higher than wage rates cannot lead to inflation, because the productivity is more than the amount of money that can be put into circulation from the wages of the citizens. So this is not the answer to the question. Option B says prices fluctuate during a particular season of the year. This option also cannot be linked directly to inflation. Okay, fluctuation of prices during a specific season cannot directly relate it to inflation. Now option C says wage increase is granted without increase in productivity. Now, when wages and salaries are increased without corresponding increase in supply of goods and services, that is production, goods and services, it can lead to excess money in circulation purchasing few goods. So the prices of the few goods, because of the excess amount of money in circulation, the prices of the few goods will rise. So, and that will be inflation. So this is what happens when wages and salaries are increased and there is no corresponding increase in supply of goods and services, that is increase in productivity. So option C, wage increase is granted without increase in productivity, is linked to inflation and is the correct answer to this question. The government embarks on restrictive monetary policies, which is option D, is usually done to prevent inflation. So it is not the correct answer to this question. So option C, as we have rightly established, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 36. Money will cease to be a good store of value when A. Prices of goods and services are falling slowly. B. There is high level of unemployment. C. Prices of goods and services are rising rapidly. D. Prices of goods and services are rising slowly. Now, this question is basically asking what will make money to lose its value. And the value of money is basically the quantity of goods and services which a given amount of money can purchase. Now, this is the rule of thumb concerning the value of money. Now, the value of money varies inversely with the price level. So this means that if price level increases, value of money decreases. So this is the inverse relationship between the value of money and the price level. And likewise, if price level decreases, value of money will increase. So this is how it works. Now, option C here says prices of goods and services are rising rapidly. If the prices of goods and services are rising rapidly, that means the same amount of money that would have bought a particular quantity of goods will no longer be able to purchase that same quantity of goods. So that means the value of money will decrease. So option C, prices of goods and services are rising rapidly, will be one of the reasons when money will lose its value and hence will cease to be a good store of value. So as we have established, option C is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 37. Governments in West Africa can curtail inflation by A. Purchasing securities in the open market. B. Selling securities in the open market. C. Encouraging importation of goods from all countries. D. Encouraging banks to lend for consumption. Now, inflation is defined as persistent rise in the price level of goods and services. Now, this usually occurs when there is a lot of money in circulation in the system. When there's a lot of money in circulation. So usually, in order to curtail inflation, the government usually takes measures that involves pulling money out of the system. So let's look at which of these options entails pulling out money from the system in order for consumers to pull back their spending. Now, option A and B have something in common, and it is referring to what is known as open market operations. What is known as open market operation. Now, the open market operation just involves buying and selling of financial securities by the government. That is what the open market operations entail. Now, whether government chooses to buy or sell depends on the situation of the economy. Now, the government sells their securities in order to pull money out of the system, and government buys securities in order to put money into the system for circulation. So buying occurs when there is deflation and the government wants to tackle it, okay, but selling occurs when there is inflation, and like we said, the government wants to decrease the money available for consumers to spend, so they want to pull money out of the system. So they sell securities in order to curtail inflation. So option B, selling securities in the open market, is the correct answer to this question. Encouraging of importation from all countries is usually linked to inflation. Importation is linked to inflation, and encouraging banks to lend for consumption, of course, puts more money into the system and hence also encourages inflation. So as we have rightly established, option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 38. The central bank can reduce the ability of commercial banks to give out loans by A. Raising the bank rate, B. Reducing special deposits, C. Reducing the liquidity ratio, D. Issuing more currency. Now, amongst the options given to us, the measure that is usually taken by the central bank to reduce ability of commercial banks to give out loans is option A, raising the bank rate. Now, bank rate is the minimum rate of interest charged by the central bank for discounting bill of exchange. If it increases, loan to the public reduces, and vice versa. Okay, so this bank rate is a rate of interest charged by central bank for bill of exchange. Now, if it increases, the loan to public reduces, and if it reduces, the loan to public increases. So the government, or the central bank rather, okay, whenever they want to reduce the ability of commercial banks to give out loans, one of the measures they take amongst the options given to us is to raise or increase the bank rate, and as we have rightly established, it reduces loan to public. So option A, raising the bank rate, is the correct answer to this question. The remaining three options are not linked to reducing the ability of commercial banks to give out loans. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 39. Tools of monetary policy do not include A. Open market operations, B. Reserve requirements, C. Bank rates, D. Tax and public expenditure. So the tools of monetary policy are basically systems used by usually government or the central bank to reduce or generally to regulate the circulation of money. Now let's look at the options and see which one cannot be classified under the tools of monetary policy. Now option A says open market operation. Now it refers to central bank purchases or sales of government securities in order to expand, that is increase, or contract, that is decrease, the money in the banking system. And it is also done to influence interest rates. So as we have established here, it is done to expand or contract money within the circulation in the banking system. And the question asks for the one which is not among the tools of monetary policy. So as we have established here, the open market operation is a tool of monetary policy because it is used to regulate circulation of money in a particular system. So it is not the answer to this question. Now option B says reserve requirement, and reserve requirement is a central bank regulation that sets the minimum amount of reserves that must be held by a commercial bank. So a certain amount of reserves of money must be held by a commercial bank, and that amount is regulated by the central bank. So as you can see here, it also stands to regulate the amount of money in the banking system, and hence it is a tool of monetary policy and is not the answer to this question. Now option C says bank rate, and bank rate is the rate charged by central banks or the central bank for lending funds to commercial banks. And once again, it is used to regulate also this amount of money in the banking system. So it is a tool of monetary policy and it's not the answer to the question. Now option D says tax and public expenditure, and tax and public expenditure, tax basically just refers to the financial charge imposed on taxpayers, which may be individuals or entities or companies, okay, in order to fund government spending. And then the public expenditure just refers to this government spending, the spending made by government on collective needs and wants, such as salaries, pensions, security, etc. And as we have seen here, it is not used to regulate the amount of money in regulation in the banking system. So it is not a tool of monetary policy, and hence it is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 40. During inflation, the appropriate fiscal measure to adopt is to A. Increase indirect taxes, B. Increase direct taxes, C. Reduce personal income tax, D. Increase government expenditure. Now, fiscal measures are basically used to control inflation by reducing the amount of money in circulation. And one of these fiscal measures includes increasing direct taxes. Okay. Another measure used to tackle inflation is to sell, when the government chooses to sell securities in the open market. Okay. Another is to raise bank rates, etc. So all these measures are used to tackle inflation. But among them, the fiscal measure, as we have mentioned, is increasing direct taxes. And increasing direct taxes, or increase direct taxes, is option B. So option B is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 42. Expenditure on food takes a large proportion of incomes of people in A. Industrialized countries, B. Advanced countries, C. Developing countries, D. Capitalist countries. Now this is a very straightforward question. We're asked, expenditure on food takes a large proportion of incomes of people in what type of countries? So in other words, which or what countries do people spend the largest proportion of their income on food? So amongst these options, developing countries spend highest, or the highest proportion of their incomes on food. In fact, from recent statistics, there are countries that spend up to 58%, okay, developing countries specifically, that spend up to 58% of their incomes on food. So as we have established, the correct answer is C, developing countries. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 43. A country should embark on development planning to ensure that A. It becomes popular among the Committee of Nations, B. It also does what others are doing, C. Its scarce productive resources are efficiently utilized, D. The nation is able to contribute its own quota towards international organizations. Now, the concept we are looking at here is development planning, and development planning refers to the strategic, measurable goals that a person, organization, or community plans to meet within a certain amount of time. Now, what are the reasons, or which one among the options can be seen as a reason why a country should embark in this development planning? Okay, so from the options given to us, option C, which says to ensure that its scarce productive resources are efficiently utilized, is the most likely and correct answer to this question, because as we have seen from the definition of development planning, it refers to strategic, measurable goals. So setting goals, okay, setting strategic goals setting of strategic goals by a community, okay, and this setting of strategic goals by a community will enable the community or the country to efficiently utilize the resources available to make sure that these strategic goals that have been measured are met, instead of just doing things without a set out plan or a set out goal to accomplish. So option C, its scarce productive resources are efficiently utilized, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers. Hello and welcome. I will be answering WAEC 2020 Economics Objective Past Question 44. A country is allowed to import just 50,000 tons of rice annually. This describes A. Devaluation, B. Tariff, C. Embargo, D. Quota. So let's look at the definition of each of the options to see which one matches the scenario placed in the question. Now, devaluation refers to the official lowering of the value of a country's currency within a fixed exchange rate system. So as you can see, it has nothing to do with the scenario painted in the question. So A, devaluation, is not the answer to the question. Now option B says tariff, and tariff is a tax on imports or exports between sovereign states, okay. And as you can see from the scenario painted in the question, it has nothing to do with a tax on imports or exports, okay. So option B, tariff, is not the correct answer to this question. Now option C says embargo. Now option C, embargo. An embargo is a government order that restricts commerce with a specified country or the exchange of specific goods. Now as you can see also from the question, no specific goods is restricted. Instead, what you have restricted is the number of a particular good. So option C, embargo, is not the correct answer to this question. Now option D, which is quota, refers to a limited quantity of a particular product which under official controls can be produced, exported or imported. Now as you can see, what you have in the question, a limited amount of rice or a limited quantity of rice is allowed or is controlled, so allowed to be imported. Now we define quota as a limited quantity of a particular product. So in this case, the particular product is rice, and which under official controls can be produced, exported or imported. So it is a limited quantity that can be imported. So option D, quota, is the correct answer to this question. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel for more videos and for more past questions and answers.